I'm on. This is Judith. And boy, am I on. It feels like this integration process that we're in is it's the ride of our lifetimes. That's currently what I'm experiencing, and many of them are coming together, and it takes remembering that what we're here to do is integrate. And what I'm here to do right now in this video is to let you know what's going on now, what we're doing now, because you all know, but sometimes it helps to hear it in words, because then the brain relaxes. The brain says, oh, I see, okay then, no problem, I just thought maybe something was wrong here, and it's not. The last video the Celestial team and I did was about that core ancient wound we all carry. It was the wound of experiencing separation. And that wound then bred other expressions of what separation feels like as we continue to be here. What emotions, what feelings, what processes happen in separation. From feeling afraid, from feeling isolated, right? From feeling angry, all of that comes from a sense of separation. So what we've been doing is exploring every possible way that the frequency of separation can be manifested and expressed. In the doing, what we've done is we have been instruments of Source, because we are sparks of Source. We've been instruments of Source exploring itself. Source is infinitely curious and creative. That was actually quite a wonderful thing. We have a bad relationship with polarity at the time, but maybe this video will clear that up. It was wonderful, because in the doing, not only did we explore all variations of what we call dark and light, but we found out it created contrast. And in the contrast, we learned what we are and what we are not. And we also learned where to shine our light. Because light is love. Darkness is the absence of light. That's all. It's not some other evil force. It's the absence of light. So we learned where we needed to shine our light, meaning what needed love. Because love is light. See? Very powerful, and we were sending all of this off to other aspects of ourselves in other galaxies who needed to see how it was done. We have shown them. And in the last, I'd say, 2 months of this, our year of integration, these polarities have been coming fast and furious, right? Bouncing back and forth. Extreme. Feeling the extremes of each. You see, the minute you experience or create something, you also create its opposite. So, we've been creating. The more we've been determined to create light and feel wonderful and get out of the dark, the more we have amplified the dark. Because we resist the dark. So we bounced back, and then we saw what we were doing. So we've been going back and forth and back and forth, and I've heard from many of you how crazy-making it felt. And then, what got really confusing of late was that it was going so fast, it started to blur. It was almost like black, white, and pretty soon, that confusion, that was the gateway to clarity. We began to see that within the good guys, there were bad guys, and vice versa. It all started to blur. Yes, that's the beginning. And because I work with energy and this stuff, and I'm like fanatic about figuring out the alchemy of this integration that we're in. I do it all the time, all day long. That's always like what's going on, no matter what else I'm doing. And what I've found is the more it blurs and the more I see it all as like a palette of color rather than separate, the more I realized, oh yeah, white is the reflection of all light. All aspects of light. We've created a whole lot of them down here with our exploring polarity. We've got a vast array, but white contains all of them. It's just the prism of our dimension that fractures them, and we can see all the parts. So, any color. Black is the absence. But any other color is a variation. It is a color on its own, and yet it is also a part of white. Okay, so then I began to experience myself moving to a third point in our duality game, which for me, I experience a little bit higher in the center. Not higher because it's hierarchically higher. Higher because then I could see the whole. And from there, I realized that it is all one whole and just a lot of aspects. And then everything changed. That, I've discovered, is where we become free to choose. That is our point of sovereignty. And the more you bounce between opposites, each defining the other as aspects of a whole, just like heads and tails are two sides of a coin. They're not two different coins, right? The more you bounce back and allow the bouncing and don't resist one or the other, the more you're going to integrate this. That third point, that it's experiential. I mean, I could tell you, but it's experiential. And once you get there, it's just all different. Because once we get there, we learn what's always been, which is that life is a relational process. All is interdependent. And like I learned in my shamanic practice, because shamans are alchemists. Alchemists hide secret codes, truths, awarenesses in plain sight. That's where they hide them. That's the best hiding place, is right there. Because nobody can see them until they can see them. Until their frequency is at a point where they can see from that elevated perspective. To see them before they're there can be dangerous, because somebody who doesn't see the meaning of what they're seeing can use it in silly ways. And I think we've learned that on this planet, haven't we? So, it's in plain sight. This lesson, this third point, this vision. In fact, unity consciousness is beneath our feet. Now I have the chills. Just take that in. Put your feet on the floor. Unity consciousness is beneath your feet. In the equinox energy telegathering that the celestial team and I just had, they spoke most movingly to me. I started to cry. They had to stop and go, "We have to pause, our Judith is crying." But it was activating to my own awareness. It sparked this awareness of unity consciousness profoundly. So I have asked them to share what they said then with you. So they said they would be honored. Just get comfortable and move to your heart center and just take it in. Okay? Hello, beloved. Our Judith is laughing because she says we just pounced right in the minute she let us. And so we have. We would like you to know the way we see your Earth, your Gaia. The collective you call Earth, we mean. It is a collective. From where we are, many light years away according to your distance thing, here is what we see. We see radiance. Your Gaia radiates, and we feel nourished by your Gaia. Your Gaia radiates such a force of love, generosity, creative joy, that your Gaia is a gift to your universe. You are not lower than we are. Your Gaia is not lower. This is a hierarchical illusion that is set up to create a sense of powerless. Obviously, you can see that. There is no higher or lower. We are all out here together, you know, in this universe we call home. And so, we see your Gaia. We honor her. We love the nourishing energy that comes from her and all beings who live within it and who were birthed from Gaia's womb. And that is you. You are one of them. And so we asked our Judith about a month ago in your time to stop sending messages for a while, for 2 weeks, I think, is how she read it, and just be in nature. And so she did. And that is when she really got this third point grounded, because it was all around her and has been all the time. You have been interconnected all the time and multidimensional, because that's what interconnection really means. And every lesson you ever need is shared with you through your Earth. You do not need us. she, he. You know, these pronouns of differentiation, you really need to get a new one that doesn't separate male from female. Beloved, you know that. Anyway, he, she, we will not use it. Shows you everything. Look around you. Feel the pulse of the earth. It resonates with your own heartbeat. Look at the diversity. Gaia does not discriminate. Gaia reflects Source. She likes as much diversity and creative expression as possible. She loves every one of them deeply. And all thrive because of one another. It's an interdependence, right? Which does not mean that any one of them isn't sovereign. This is consciousness. It's sovereign. All consciousness is sovereign. It just needs to know it. Every one of them thrives on that connection and relies on it. The only aberrant life form is your species, Homo sapien, the human collective. It has forgotten the interconnectedness. It has forgotten because it went so quickly from feeling part of oneness into separation, and therefore is so busy processing all of that and recovering that it couldn't just settle where it landed and feel home. Your planet is whole. You are part of one energy. It is abundant. It is never-ending. Gaia likes nothing more than to feed her own. We want you to feel that, beloved. We want you to feel home. You see, we told you in the video about your wound that you'd never really left us. This is the other piece. You left, you thought you did, and where did you arrive? In the same sort of interdependent, harmoniously other-supporting, self-supporting, reciprocal bounty. Simply expressed in another way. So, relationship then for you now is reconciliation. Reconciling all parts. Doesn't matter what color they are. Dark, light, what you call them. A bad experience, a good one. Whatever you call them. The judgments are irrelevant as far as Source is concerned. And the judgments only perpetuate them. So it is reconciliation. And from your third point, you're sovereign, you see it all, and you choose your preferences. You choose the colors. You choose the frequencies that you wish to hold. And then they light up, and you begin, if you hold them, to manifest them into form. It is that. That's all. And then you change everything. You change everything. Reconciliation, as we always say, begins within. Reconciliation begins with releasing judgments. Because whatever you judge out there is an aspect of you that you judge and you deny exists. It begins within. And our Judith has some tools that she's discovered to share with you, to ground your new awareness from your third point. where you're free. There's no reason to resist. You're home. She will share some awarenesses with you very soon. Welcome home. We've said it before. Feel it now beneath your beloved feet.